Guess what? Today is the day. Today is the day that we get my brother to show us around the shop and show us all the cool projects that he's got going on. I'm Scott Jarvie, and I'm in town, and I want him to show me all the things that he's been doing in order to help create the supercar and the supervan. So some of the supplementary projects, but also things he's doing around the house.
Okay, well, it is going to be a shop tour of this video. So let's take Scott, take a walk around, see what's going on.
Okay, all right, what's first on the list?
Are we filming?
Yes.
Okay. First thing, of course, is always the Airate Supercar project. That's what everybody's here to see. Recently, we just put the tunnel in here, and now you have to swing around. We'll show people something they haven't seen. Right down in here, these little blue things, that is the final fill and layers to make it so that we can run bolts through the floor for the subframe here. We're thick enough here for the subframe, and we will be doing the floor and then wrapping the tunnel, getting that whole thing strengthened up. In the back, people just recently saw
All right, looks like a lot has been done since the last time I was in town, but I've been watching those videos though.
Okay. Everybody is always curious about how this thing is going to go together in the end. And you just saw me pull that clamshell off by hand. Well, obviously you don't want to be doing that in the end. Hinges will be up there. And the fastening points will come down on this thing. And this thing has caused me a little bit of grief. And it has to be redone. When I put this thing together recently, I found there was a pretty bad warp in it from the welding. And my trying to straighten it out broke a couple of welds here. And this is the second round on this thing, and it's going to have to be one more time. So there's a couple of things. That is the thing about building a prototype that everybody talks about, saying, why didn't you 3D model this and everything would be perfect and it would be easy and it would just all go together. And that is a bunch of BS actually, because things like this, even in the 3D world, once they go through the manufacturing process, is not the same as a 3D model that has no stresses in the welds. So anyway, this is going to be fixed pretty soon. Those babies will be able to fasten here. Casting's coming up pretty soon for the hinges. And so we'll be able to just open this thing up and close it.
That's new. All those pipes are new.
Yeah, they haven't seen, people on the videos haven't seen this. This is the first start of our manifold.
Nice.
And so this is the bellows to add it, so it'll have some vibration isolation and some temperature flex when it cools and heats.
All right, well, you have many, many hours of video on the car. I want to see some of the other projects that you're working on.
Okay, so while we're here in this room,
yeah,
we can swing around this way. Okay, while we're in this room, here we have the new 5-axis CNC machine that I'm working on. Haven't got too far along on it, but we do have some things. We have the towers now raised. We have the Z-axis is on here running. And if you can swing around this way, you've got all the electronics are installed, all the drivers and power supplies in there. They will be all operational once this cables are all spliced in here. I had to, of course, cut the cables from the original X-axis connection because we added this 35 inches in. So these, as soon as we get this spliced right there. And then some more boxes over here for splicing of some airlines and such. But that's getting closer. Got a PC ready to go.
So this project will be to help with what?
Well, components that I do 3D model, I can now machine them if they're in softer materials like foam or MDF, things like that. So this will be able to cut 30 inches by 8 foot by 7 foot is the volume of the cutting area.
What do you have that's that huge? That is very large.
definitely we have windows for the Leviathan and some other components for Leviathan. If I can get this running soon enough, I will be doing the front splitter for the Arete. Those aerodynamic surfaces that need to be a little more accurate. And so we can cut all those out of foam, or actually cut straight to a mold as well on here.
Well, then we need to chat about the Leviathan, but also, do you have anything else for smaller creations? That looks like it's for very large things.
Yeah, well, this swinging around here, this is the new 3D printer. It's going to be a dual head machine. Right now I'm in the process. I say I'm in the process, but I haven't done anything for months on this thing, I don't think, feels like. But this work table has to put the bearing slides on it. It'll go up and down. That'll be the Z-axis on this machine. And then, of course, it slides in here with the print heads going back and forth.
All right, that is definitely smaller, but still large. I do notice a few things over here. These look like new toys, not things that you've created.
Yep. One of the few things I bought instead of built. This is just some resin printers. I've been doing some small things like badges for the car. A little bushing that I need to make in urethane. I've made one of those, and I could grab that, I guess, as part of this little tour maybe and show you that.
All right, I made him go get it.
Okay. So this is a model of the urethane bushings that will hold the anti-sway bars in place. So I'll take a mold off of that, and then I can reproduce that. I need 4 of those, of course, and maybe an extra to keep on hand. That's like little things that I'm printing in those resin printers.
Well, they saw this big red thing. I don't know if this is part of what you're doing or your wife, but they're going to ask.
This is my wife's great find. This is a freeze drying machine.
I saved you a question on YouTube, at least. All right, this is curious. I think maybe you did a video about this, but he created a ladder and elevator system to get up to the storage that's above. Anyway, let's back to him. All right, let's go out here.
And one of the reasons that Scott is here is out here in the lift room. We have this device here on the floor.
What a beauty.
Well, Scott, the man behind the camera here, spends most of his life traveling and lives in an Airstream trailer that is fully self-contained. And his solar system, he is upgrading to have much more output. And so, since you're limited on space on the top of your vehicle, and we're doing this also so that it can be a training experience for Leviathan, think solar powered in Leviathan. But this is going to be an expanding solar array. I guess it locks them in there.
Yeah,
What's and anyway, these will all fold in, and then there's even one more panel on top here, so he can go from the one panel that he typically could fit on there to 3.
And I also have a YouTube where I'm documenting this in 4 parts: the setup, the build, the installation, and then the recap afterwards. So,
and we'll put a link in the description below if you want to go see his photography and this project.
all right, any update on this big, huge lathe? I noticed it got painted.
Well, I just covered up some of the rust, but no progress. One more thing I just need to get out here and spend some time on. I need to pull some of the things apart and just go through the bearings, but otherwise, I guess also I need to bring out a variable frequency drive to convert to, this is a 3-phase machine and there's don't have 3-phase power out here. So another reason that slowed me down.
Will this be used to help with the Supervan or the Supercar?
All of them.
Okay.
The main reason I bought it is I have a bushing that adapts the transmission in the Arete. And I took it to have it machined, and they wanted $300 to do it. And then I bought a lathe for $500, and so now I've only got $200 into the machining of it, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, here we are at progress on Leviathan. Kind of slowed down a little bit because here in the springtime, we're working underneath a cottonwood tree that puts more cotton out than the fields of the south. And so I just tarped it for a while, a couple of weeks while this thing went through its cycle, and there was cotton everywhere blowing around, probably cotton in every orifice of it still. But this is the progress. We have the engine out, about to rebuild it. The new tires on it, cleaned up a little bit.
Hefty tires. Man. This is the one I'm most excited about because I do off-roading in my Tacoma, and I am mobile, as he said. So this would provide for both of those and a little bit more luxury.
So the other thing is, we've got some of the design going on the subframes for the camper side and the cab. I just got a new axle. I had to go to a new axle just so I could have the full floating axles, the larger ring gear so that I can put lockers and adjust the gearing to what I wanted. So the new axle just showed up today. We'll be rebuilding that, putting the new ring gears and lockers into the front and back, and then we can start putting the subframes on.
All right, I'm excited about this project. I know a lot of your listeners are into the supercar, but this is definitely my style, and I'm excited to see some progress on this. Any other car projects you got going on? Got two already.
I shouldn't have any more car projects, but we did come up with another one. Let's walk out there and see it.
Okay.
Barn finds. Everybody loves barn finds on YouTube, it seems like. Well, this was, I was in a wrecking yard, or not a wrecking yard, but a tow company's storage yard with my friend Craig Adams, who some of you have seen in the video before, and Craig was looking at a truck cab. And I was off looking at this because the very first car I owned was a Corvair. It was the car that I pulled apart to build my first car. And the owner there saw me looking at it and said, "Hey, do you want that? I'll sell it to you for $500. And I said, okay, it's a deal. I don't know, just more of a nostalgia thing. Didn't know what I was going to do with it.
This is the back. I hear they have engines in the back.
Yes, so those not familiar with Corvair, the original rear pusher American cars.
I saw you out here fiddling with it with your son.
Yeah, so this isn't going to be another project that everybody's going to see on my YouTube channel. But I have a son, my second to the youngest, Donovan. He is going to be working on putting this thing back on the road as another car.
I think people will be happy to know that you're not spending all your time on this one, even though maybe they'll be interested in it. Someone else is kind of in charge.
Maybe updates or little things will show, but not going to be a regular.
Does it run?
Thing. It turns over. It has good compression. We need to redo some points and get wires. A couple of the wires are totally dead.
Well, at least it's not a total rebuild. Maybe they should just drive it around with this paint job.
That's what I keep telling him. Drive it as a rat rod and get some street cred.
Look at that. All right, here we are at the Airstream, and now you can see why we don't have much space. So a 3-in-1 stackable system is awesome. But what you may not know is that last year in August, I came here and we did a complete remodel of the inside of the Airstream. I can give you a small tour of that. Here's a little peek inside. I do have a video showing the whole process, just kind of rudimentary videos from each day. But he did the desk. He designed the layout to include lots and lots of storage. Here, I'll jump in for a second. A better layout, a bed in the back, 3 tool chests, nice table, everything all set up, and then we redid all the electrical throughout the Airstream. All right, we've shown some shops type stuff and some car projects and other projects that I make you do. But what about the house? I mean, you constructed it yourself, but what else have you been doing around the house?
Well, I mentioned in a video a while back, asked people if they wanted to see things that were going on in my life out here, and one of those I mentioned was gardening, and people thought I was going to start doing gardening tutorials and teaching people how to weed, but that is not what I had in mind. I just had an idea of showing you what I was working on and things I would do in the yard. My life is based around what I do in my spare time when I'm not building cars.
Okay.
And so
let's take a look.
You pan out here. This is
all right here.
This what people see out there. Some scraggly little trees. Those were put in this spring. That is actually probably the biggest project in my life right there. That maybe they won't know that, but that is going to be a 3-acre formal gardens.
3-acre formal gardens, and we got the very first start with some trees creating what looks like to be the general outline of everything.
Yep. And so if you want to follow that on YouTube, it'll stay tuned over the next 10 years, likely is what that'll take me to do that.
But not every day during the next 10 years. No. Sometime we'll just be waiting for things to grow.
Yeah, and I'll show updates of interesting things I do, like these people on YouTube that watch this, probably the most interesting thing is all the utilities I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of, I don't know, like you think of it in a moonscape, you know, with all these underground utilities and things be able to move around underground instead of just drag a hose and water your garden. So lots of cement vaults and tunneling under the ground.
Some like building and creating. All right, what's new on the house then?
Well, we haven't changed anything on the house for a year or so, any construction. I got a bunch of things I do need to finish. I'll just show what's here. This is the back side of the house. Over here, this is the shop side where everybody sees me working, the shop and the studio on this side. Right in here is the first addition to the house. That's a living room, master bedroom, and another bedroom right there. This little piece right here, the little 2-story section here,
yes,
that's the original house. Was like 1,150 square feet. So first round I did was add this on and this garage over here, and then of course the shop came later. I kind of wanted everybody to see this because a lot of people comment, at least younger people, that say, oh, I couldn't do that project because I don't have a shop, I don't have the tools and things like that. Well, this is the house that I've built in about 7 years now, from a little piece of scrappy little house on some dry weed land. Still kind of dry weeds, isn't it? But anyway, people say that I don't have the resources to do these kind of things, but it wasn't that long ago when I didn't have the resources either. I can remember finally arriving what I thought was I had come into my own when the car needed a set of tires and I could go down and actually just buy some tires. I felt like I'd achieved something in life. Where before that, when the tires got bare, I would wait till the wires showed and then drive them that way, a little bit of grip with some wires showing. You know, I used to struggle from paycheck to paycheck as well. And I think the thing that finally gets you there is to go into business for yourself and own a home. I think those are the two main things that you can do to build some wealth and get to the position where you can spend time and money on doing something like build a supercar. So anyway, this may have been a humble beginning at once. It all just takes some effort, hard work, and some time. So this is the life of Jay Jarvie here.
Yeah.
Get an idea of where I live and how we got to this point.
So it looks like you've done plenty of landscaping, and this was decently new that you and your son installed a pool yourselves, that you had found a pool somewhere online, installed it.
Yeah.
Anything new?
We need to tell this story because this is another thing that people always like. You need to get the car done, you need to do this, you know. And I do a lot of other things besides the car. We mentioned a pool, a swimming pool. One day maybe we should put a swimming pool in. And then Emerson, who everybody on this channel knows by now, as should, went onto Craigslist or somewhere and found this $40,000 fiberglass swimming pool for $1,500 and decided he should buy it. And so now we have a $1,500 swimming pool that takes up half the yard. What do you do with it? So we had to take the time. It took us about 3.5 months to dig the hole, put it, do all the cement work around it and stuff. So there goes 3 months of working on the Arete. That was a year and a half ago or so.
Wasn't your decision though, just so people know.
No, but it wasn't something I could just leave this big ugly fiberglass pool sitting in the backyard. So anyway, plus we get to swim when it gets warm, and it sometimes gets pretty warm here.
Yeah. All right, anything new here? This is the garden.
The garden, and new in the garden is the bees. My wife is now a apiarian beekeeper, and so we've been taking care of some bees. They're doing really well. Of course, Oregon, known for its rain. Well, we have rain all winter long, and then things go crazy in the spring, and the main crazy is blackberries. And you see all there?
Yeah.
Blackberries. Good for the bees, a pain for trying to keep the blackberries out of your life when you don't want them, but also good to eat.
I just want to point out that everything you see here, he built. He did the cement, did the inner part here, did the fire ring pit, the grape trellis.
And now we're back into the studio, full circle. Scotty swung back here at Leviathan, trying a new design on this side of the clay for the doors, something that I can do to use real automotive safety glass rather than plexiglass. And I think we may go with this route. Looking promising.
Comparison. And I've seen your comments. He was never going to do an outboard motor, just so you know. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the tour that I got him to do. And of course, many of the projects are being done in order to help with projects like this and that project over there. But some of them are just because that's what the family requires, and including me, that gets him to do random stuff when I'm in town. All right, if you like these sorts of one-take tours, you can, maybe I'll do one next time when I'm in town in maybe 6 months or so. And any other final thoughts?
Well, since you got this tour with Scott Jarvie, another creative in the Jarvie line, you can go see his work, his photography work at jarviedigital.com, or you can go catch his YouTube at, what is your YouTube?
Jarvie Digital.
Oh, also YouTube/Jarvie Digital to see some videos talking about his panels and other projects with his Airstream and his traveling around taking photographs. Anyway, that's the tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think about this kind of a video, just for catch up on all the odds and ends projects. But that's our video for today, and thanks for coming by. Come back to see us again.